Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Aleph Zero, aka A0. So let's just dive in and let's start off with this tweet. So I asked over on Twitter and I said, do you think A0 can hit $50? Now, I want to ask all of you that are watching, do you think that A0 can hit $50? If you do agree, comment down below and also hit that like button if you guys haven't already. But as we do focus on Aleph Zero, this is one of my top holdings. This has been one that I've been accumulating quite a bit recently as well, and it's for good measure. I mean, listen, when we go over to the price chart and whenever we talk about Aleph Zero, which we will get to here in a second, by the way, I'm not going to go to the price chart just yet. You could see why I think that A0 is going to surprise a lot of people. Now, at $50, you might be thinking, well, this is easily achievable. It would be a 39x. It's a $10.6 billion market cap. That's nothing. When you go over here to like the top 10, you can see that the top 10 would basically put it in line with about a $54 price target. I don't know why this is like a little bit different, but you'd be like, yeah, it's Dogecoin market cap. So that's easily, that's easily achievable. But the problem here is that is Aleph Zero worth $10.6 billion right now? Is there enough built out on Aleph Zero right now? It's questionable, right? But I've always looked at Aleph Zero and I really kind of compared it to Solana. When we look at Solana and we look at Aleph Zero, they're kind of in the same realm, tokenomic wise, but also platform wise. I do think that the technology behind Aleph Zero is very interesting. I also think that the overall, supply ratio is very, very lucrative for short-term price action. I also think that it could be the next Solana, which I know that a lot of people have been talking about how Aleph Zero is the next Solana, and all that kind of stuff. Now, with that, what was Solana's all-time high? Well, when we go down here to look at the all-time high for Solana, the all-time high was $260. When we look at Solana and we go to $260 for Solana, it would be about a market cap of $97.5 billion. Check this out. So if we had that same market cap for Aleph Zero, we would be right around the $457 range, an upside of about 368x. Now, I'm not saying that Aleph Zero can't do this, and I'm not saying that like $50 is the minimum. I'm just saying like we have to be a little bit more realistic right now. I don't doubt that we can see a massive push like that, but the reason why Solana mainly had this massive push in price was because of VC backing, and there was a ton of shilling happening on, YouTube, on Twitter, etc. Now, could we see the same price action though with Aleph Zero? Sure. It all depends on community hype and what's actually happening with Aleph Zero. Now, do I think that Aleph Zero is going to increase a lot in value? Do I think that $50 is achievable? I do think that $50 can be achieved. I think that double digits definitely is on the horizon for Aleph Zero. I think that $10 should be the initial target point, which is still about a 7x return right now currently. And then obviously like a 10x would be about like $12.40. It's like 40, I think like 44 cents or something like that. 1 second. Oh, so it looks like it's actually a little bit higher. I know that this is like being weird, but nonetheless, when we take a look at what Aleph Zero is actually doing and when we take a look at the tokenomics, it all makes sense. When we go and look at the ecosystem right now, there is quite a bit of projects already building on Aleph Zero. Now, a lot of these we've actually looked at in the past. Interlock actually just recently announced a huge update, but also some of these other projects have been building out some solid use cases as well that we have been aware of, we've been focused on, especially around like the NFT scene. A lot of NFT projects, like almost every single network has some sort of CryptoPunks equivalent to it, which is not necessarily a thing that I'm bullish about because, again, like what really makes it different? But I have been very excited around a lot of like the major projects that are building out on Aleph Zero, and we've been anticipating Liminal for a while now. We're very excited about that to really go fully live. But there's still a lot more here left to build out because again, Aleph Zero is still very early on. It's kind of very similar to Casper, right? We're very bullish on Casper, but we are still very, very early. Now, why do I think that Aleph Zero is going to let's say, shock the world, right? Why do I think that's going to surprise a lot of people? Why do I think that Aleph Zero could do some incredible moves to possibly $50, or even like $100? Well, let's take a look at a few things. So this is the monthly roundup from January. And we do see Inc 4.0 beta live on testnet. We're waiting for Inc 4.0 to go live on the mainnet. When that does happen, it's going to change a lot of things. We also seen them have the Polkadot parachain slot, which allows for bridging purposes. This is actually very bullish, and they've actually been announcing a lot of things with Aleph Zero over on Polkadot Insider, which is not an official account, but they do have a ton of followers, and we can see that Aleph Zero is designed for the use in enterprise, Web3, and DeFi. It's a proof-of-stake public blockchain with private smart contracts created from the ground up. And here you guys have those applications that are building out on Aleph Zero, which we are very excited about all of these, but also them being bridged to Polkadot is awesome. I think that this is a huge, huge opportunity for Aleph Zero. Now, does it, provide any value to the token itself? A0, not necessarily, but they will have at some point in time support for A02 dot, which is going to be very exciting. But here you guys basically have a sort of insight on how this all works. You have the Aleph Zero chain, then you have the Polkadot Bridge to the Aleph Zero parachain, and then the relay chain over here, where a lot of those connections will be made. So this is awesome, and I think that's great. Multi-chain is the future around this space. These bridges, do they open the door for, bad actors to come into this space? Technically speaking, yes. But I am putting a lot of confidence in the fact that Aleph Zero does have ABFT. Or I shouldn't say ABFT. It's like Aleph BFT, which is their consensus mechanism, very similar to ABFT from Hedera. Now, also, going back to the monthly tab, which yes, we do have the next area that I want to focus on. But first off, AWS active partnership for ecosystem builders, completing the design of the Aleph Zero signer extension, testing Aleph Zero staking dashboard for better staking UX, UI, crossed 45,000 accounts on the mainnet. Yes, this just got announced back in January, January 27th, which we're going to be going in depth on and why I actually have this open over here. Increased foundation and community validator nodes commission according to schedule, setting up the ecosystem funding program, finalize the second cohort of ambassadors. And Tony, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, honestly, but they attended a Miami conference with Quantum. This is great for community building and community growth. I've always talked about these events and why they are crucial, and they have been doing a lot more Twitter spaces and really kind of interacting with the community, which I love to see. For an example, like here's a Poland meetup, as well as like Twitter spaces with, of course, Miami. And we also seen using Web3 for designing DeFi policies gets published on CoinDesk from Matthew from Aleph Zero, which is awesome. So a ton of publicity in the month of January, and I do believe that going forward we will start to see a lot more community engagement, which we will also talk about here in a second. But what I want to talk about with the 45,000 Aleph Zero accounts, yeah, this has been growing rapidly. Right now, currently, we're sitting at about 46,000. So in roughly, give or take, about 2 weeks or so, we've gained about 1,000 new holders, which is awesome. And you can see amount staked / bonded, which is a great amount. I mean, like the vesting is about 34.1%. So that's awesome to see. But the total staked is 134.7 million, which is, I mean, again, even with Casper, I love to look at how much is staked and locked away. This is great, and you can see like the total issuance vesting right now is 110 million, which is 34.1%. I think that the total amount that will be released over the next couple months is right within the, I think it's like roughly 3 million or 30 million, I mean, sorry. So that's not too bad in terms of like inflation. I know that a lot of people have been focused on the inflation. The inflation is not bad at all for Aleph Zero, which we've talked about. Like, I think it will take 10 years for it to actually get to 300 million release, which would be 600 million tokens, which doesn't even scratch the surface with most of the top 25 networks on the top 25 list for CoinMarketCap. So we're right on par with that. Now, also, what I did want to mention around the holders tab as well as the overall statistics is I do want to go in depth on the Explorer tab. So here you can see the holders in the last 24 hours. We gained about 57. Nothing too crazy there. Active accounts is roughly about 619 daily active accounts. This is just accounts that are transacting and utilizing things within the network. So not a massive amount or anything like that, but I do believe that this will change eventually. Remember, we are still very early on what Aleph Zero is doing. I remember when QNT had 46,000 holders, there was not a big community around it, and guess what? Now we're already over like 100 and I think like 10,000 or something like that holders. So there's been quite of a bit of a change with Quant in the last couple months. So I do expect that growth with Aleph Zero as well, considering the fact that this team has been staying very busy. We just talked about interlock. Interlock just unleashed their AI threat detection, which allows you to be safe from never before seen threats within DeFi, as well as within the Web3 scene, which I think that this is great. I think that this is a great way to actually utilize AI technology for threat detection around scams and phishing sites, because this is crucial right now within this market, especially if you are into NFTs and things like that. And I think that this is something very, very exciting. I think that this is something very innovative and cool. We've talked about how crucial it is around like cybersecurity within crypto right now. As I mean, look at YouTube, right? Comments. You go look at Twitter, comments as well. Bots everywhere, scams everywhere, phishing sites everywhere. So this is awesome. I think that this kind of technology is incredible. And like I said, Interlock is building out on Aleph Zero. If you guys do want to go check them out, you guys are more than welcome to. Here you guys have them right here. Interlock has been a big game changer around the cybersecurity aspect within crypto. So I think that this is awesome. I think that this is cool. And I highly suggest you look into a lot of these projects building out on Aleph Zero, because a lot of them are very innovative. Now, with that, I also want to talk to you guys a little bit about community engagement. So like I said, I always love community engagement and community growth because it is crucial to the success of a lot of these projects. And here you guys have the overall conference schedule. This is Q1 of 2023. You can see all the dates here, and you can see the areas. They are really focused on building out a strong community. So far, I think that they're already over, yeah, they're already over 100,000 plus followers over on Twitter. I do believe that this is going to continue to grow and grow and grow. I love these early on blockchain technology companies. Remember what I've always said around finding these projects early on. At first, the growth might be slow. You might not have live projects fully building out. Like another one, which we've talked about quite a bit on this channel, if you guys do follow the channel, is Casper. Casper is another one right around the same range in market cap that does not get a ton of shine on Twitter and on YouTube. People barely talk about it. And again, I always share my thoughts on like how we have to be very, very patient, because it's very easy to go over to like the top 10 list and say, well, why would I invest into Aleph Zero or Casper when I could like I could go and invest into, I don't know, we'll just say like, I don't really like to utilize it as an example, but like ADA, or why can't I just go invest in Matic because Matic is doing huge things and they've been very successful. Like, look at the market cap. What is the ROI here? Like, what kind of growth are you looking at? And, you know, are you going to get rich off of, you know, smaller figure amounts invested? No, you're really not. I like to be an early investor in a lot of these projects that might be a higher risk, because trust me, like, it is a higher risk to invest into these projects because, you know, you never know what could happen. This space is very, you know, questionable at times. You can't really predict it. It's unpredictable all the time. But I do believe being an early adopter of some of these technologies and some of these projects could allow for incredible ROI. You know, the ROI on Aleph Zero, you know, even at the bear market lows of some of these tokens, like even ADA, this would be a 47x opportunity run. So, you know, I think that there's so much potential here. I think that there's a lot of potential for Aleph Zero to, you know, surprise a lot of people. Like I said, when we look at the overall chart, like this is still a very early on project that launched at the worst time. Very similar to like Casper. Like Casper launched at one of the worst times with an ICO going back to May May of 2021, which I even said like during that time we basically already had our top for the market. We had a little bit of a dead cat bounce in November for some of these altcoins, but besides that, there wasn't really much gains to be made. And then we have Aleph, which launched during a bear market. We hit about like roughly $3.10, and then here we are right now, just kind of building sideways, and we're starting to have that nice little increase in value. So as we look at a lot of these tokens, and as we look at tokens like Azero and the projects behind it, and what this network is empowering, I believe in the vision. We're not always 100% on. There's not going to be a 100% win rate in investing. Anyone will tell you that. Even the best investors out there do pick losers sometimes. But in my opinion, if Aleph is going to be a winner, it could potentially be a massive opportunity, very similar to, Solana. Because I remember when Solana was getting pushed to massive heights and everybody was going crazy saying that, I wish I invested into Solana early on. Most people would not have even touched Solana early on. Very similar to like Aleph or Casper. Many people are just avoiding these tokens because of how early they are. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. So with you all, have a beautiful day, beautiful night. If you guys are on this before, this has been Nick. Peace out, guys.